With 8 maps throughout Warzone history, we've seen the good, the perfect, and the awful. Everyone has their own preference, but some are held to high regards amongst the community, so let's go through all of them. I'm Ornery, and this is every Warzone map ranked. This is my list, so I'm not asking you to agree with me whatsoever, but I will try to keep opinions through the lens of the community and somewhat objective. Go ahead and comment your favorite and least favorite Warzone maps of all time. I want to start this list with the maps that kind of blend the boundaries as if they count as a map or not. The main one that comes to mind is the Al-Bagra Fortress, which I don't even know where to rank it if I chose to include it in the first place. This was definitely marketed as a brand new Warzone map when it was first announced, but people were quick to realize that this map was ripped straight from Mazrah. Needless to say, this did not go over well.
Wait, we're getting scammed. Wait, we got scammed. Wait, this is a scam. Wait, this is Mini Royale.
I mean, just look at this circle that Swag got. What even is this? This was also only in the game for, I kid you not, like a week or two and has never been back since. I genuinely think I played this thing like once or twice, maybe not even that. It added a little more depth to the fortress and maybe with some circle reworks could function as a proper Resurgence map, but it was abandoned very quickly. Now, more recently, we had the Superstore Resurgence, which is another POI turned into a Resurgence map. I personally think this one works well for Resurgence. You could maybe expand the circle a little bit and add some more players, but if you want a super quick game, this is your thing. I wouldn't mind seeing this coming back from time to time just to shake things up. And then at the launch of Warzone 3, we got Urzikstan POIs in the form of power, downtown, and military, which also weren't bad, but had a criminal player count, which resulted in lobbies dying nearly immediately. Anyways, let's kick this video off with our worst actual map in Warzone history. To kick things off, we have the worst map in all of Warzone alongside one of the worst Call of Duties of all time. Can't really pinpoint why this map sucks, but it just does. Caldera gave us an awful new feature added, which was the planes. I've said it a million times on this channel, but planes just don't belong in Warzone and truly made the game very unplayable for a state of time. A plane meta where players would just land on a plane spawn and ride it until the brakes fell off, then just get into another one. Then you just had overall poor visibility, which meant when you got shot at, you had a chance of not being able to find your shooter. And on top of that, you also have probably some of the worst gulag designs we've ever seen in Warzone, especially the launch gulag. I mean, this was actually some of the most low effort I've ever seen put out into Warzone. I would venture to say Caldera is at the bottom for most people's lists, but lower mid at absolute best, which is why I don't see this map coming back anytime soon. Moving on to Ashika Island, which was the first Resurgence map added to Warzone 2. At the time of its release, it delivered on the hype of Resurgence on a brand new Warzone engine, but overall just aged extremely poorly. Similarly to Caldera, the visibility was awful, but somehow worse than Caldera. We also had inconsistent pacing with a weak player count and awkward placement of each POI. I wouldn't even go as far to say this map is bad, even though most people would say it is. It's just not a map I would go back to and makes total sense that they would take it out of the rotation. The underground segments felt clunky with a lot of water involved that gave this map a lot of incentive for camping and annoying gameplay. This felt like you were playing ground war or multiplayer and didn't really work as a Resurgence map. There's also no real fun areas of the map either. Castle being a hotspot still doesn't hit the same way other hot drops do on other maps. At the time of launch, Ashika was received pretty well, but as time went on and other maps emerged and got brought back, this resulted in Ashika being the most forgettable Warzone map. This may come as a surprise to a lot of people, but Warzone's newest big map, Urzikstan, comes in at the number 6 spot. This map isn't bad, but like Ashika, when compared to the other maps, there's just no need for it. Offering almost too many POIs for what used to be a 100 player count gave this some of the worst pacing we've seen in Warzone. Upping it to 120 definitely helped the situation out, but at launch, games felt very slow. I do like the city having all the skyscrapers, which kind of brought us back to the Verdansk era a little bit. This makes for a ton of sniping opportunities, which is what Warzone's great for. The gulag was pretty simple and has the zipline escape mechanic, which is a lot of fun as well. I would say it's one of the better gulags with not too much going on. Overall, it's probably just me, but Urzikstan ran its course on me within the first couple of months after launch. This is a lot of people's favorite Resurgence map, and I think a lot of that has to do with the 72 player count. This resulted in some of the highest kill games you could possibly have and lobbies refusing to die. Just about every drop is always going to have another squad there, making for quick and rapid engagements, which is the whole selling point for Resurgence. On top of that, this is the largest Resurgence map, which would see that sometimes getting a Battle Royale playlist that also worked pretty well. With this map comes a lot of very close quarters gameplay, which is the only real drawback with the map. Alongside the close quarters gameplay come a lot of stairways and if you know anything about Warzone, it's the audio being all over the place, so it can sometimes be a toss-up if you're able to pinpoint someone above or below you. There are a lot of fun rotations here, especially when it comes to the endgame. Since there's a ton of large buildings, you're often able to cower away in endgames in the same building as an enemy, making for some very tense situations. There's also a good amount of water, which I think is responsible for the most water combat a lot of people have seen in their Warzone career. The map is definitely good, but I just wish there was a little more versatility when it comes to the gameplay. I love to snipe, but really don't see much opportunity to do so on Vondel. Basically, you have to run an AR and SMG or an AR and shotgun. Not much in between going on here. For some reason, a lot of people hate on or just don't have much to say when it comes to Fortune's Keep. However, this map deserves way more appreciation for a lot of reasons. For starters, this map's layout is perfect for a Resurgence map. You're rarely caught in a drag since everything is so close together without being on top of each other. This makes it feel like Mini Royale, but in Resurgence. This map, for some reason, also carries a ton of random Easter eggs that a lot of other maps are missing, and this goes beyond just the ones in the Vanguard era, but even some brand new ones when it was brought back, including the Ray Gun and Wonderwaff. The map was good when it initially launched, but somehow got even better when it was re-released and worked very well for ranked play when it was initially brought back. I would venture to say that when Warzone 3 brought back Fortune's Keep, it was a massive win for Warzone 3. The new underground sections at Ground Zero and Winery add more options to traverse and rotate throughout the map, and unlike Vondel, this is a very sniper-friendly map and has a lot more options when it comes to gameplay. Similarly to our next entry, I think this map gets caught in the crossfire as to when it was released and not necessarily judged for what it actually is. Fortune's Keep is a phenomenal map. Please, before you click off the video, hear me out. Mazrah came out when Warzone was at its absolute lowest point in its life cycle. Movement, looting, gunplay, all of it terrible. But when you remove the era and events surrounding the launch of Mazrah, the map itself is awesome. Warzone has seen a trend of poor visibility and dull environments, but Mazrah created one of the most vibrant and clear-cut maps we've ever had. I know a desert isn't exactly beautiful and clean, but the sunniness definitely helped with the problems that we were having with the previous maps. The mountainous center that housed Observatory, which is one of my all-time favorite POIs based off one of my all-time favorite COD maps, made for some unforgettable rotations when you had to leave or climb the observatory. With long-range engagements and lengthy rotations, it gave us a true battle royale experience that we don't have as much with Urzikstan. Also throw in the fact this was the map that birthed the nuke contract, which is the only reason a lot of people are still playing the game. Mazrah is the second best battle royale map in all of Warzone and holds its own to the one above it. Had this map come out at the launch of Warzone or literally any other time than Warzone 2, it would be way more memorable, but since it wasn't, it left a sour taste in everyone's mouth. The map that started it all. Our runner-up is Verdansk, which is responsible for creating countless memories on an amazing Warzone engine. The launch map to Warzone, this map is potentially a perfect battle royale map, and that goes beyond Warzone. The 150 player count gave us a non-stop action-packed experience while giving us enough POIs in real estate to pick and choose which engagements to entertain. Legendary POIs like Superstore, Military Base, Prison, Promenade, and City all played very well. With the healthy balance of long, mid, and close-range encounters, whatever style of loadout you wanted to use would probably work out in some way. Sniping was at an all-time high when this map was around, and it was extremely satisfying. We had just the right amount of verticality without overdoing it. We eventually got the 1984 makeover, which added just the right amount of change while staying fairly true to the original. Stadium was now open, and the legendary Nakatomi Plaza created one of the best POIs in Warzone history. Every area of the map had something to offer, and there really wasn't such thing as a bad dropping spot in Verdansk. As far as 1984 versus the original Verdansk, I think they're both perfect, and that's a near impossible decision to choose which is better. Verdansk carried the pandemic era of our lives, and is no coincidence I put this as the best state of Warzone. Maybe it's nostalgia talking here, but hopefully when Verdansk gets brought back with Black Ops 6, it finds a way to hit the same way that it used to. The top two on this list are really interchangeable, but I had to put Rebirth Island on top because of what it's done for Warzone. I want to lead by saying that before Rebirth was brought back into Warzone 3, the community was begging for it to make a return for the longest time. Now, not to say that people don't want Verdansk back, because trust me, we do, but I think if it was one or the other, people would choose Rebirth. Maybe that says something about Resurgence versus Battle Royale, but the day that Rebirth was brought back into Warzone was potentially the greatest update that Warzone has ever had. Rebirth Island is responsible for creating the Resurgence mode, which is the only mode that some people will play, and I've nearly become one of those people. With hectic but balanced pacing, there's nearly no downtime to keep you on your toes at any given moment. This resulted in the best experience you can have when it comes to Warzone. Maybe it's due in part to the overall attention span of people just diminishing, so players can no longer enjoy Battle Royale like they used to, but Rebirth is a non-stop roller coaster of action. Don't get me wrong, there are those nights where it just feels like Spawn Die Simulator, but if you've got an hour to kill, 4 games of Rebirth are almost always more fun than 2 games of any big map. I don't have any actual data to support this next claim, but I feel like the overall interest of Battle Royale has gone down, and Resurgence has definitely become the focus of Warzone within the last 2 years. Rebirth Island is the focal point of Warzone now. But what do you guys think? What's your favorite and least favorite Warzone map? Go ahead and drop your ranking down below. Feel free to roast my ranking while you're at it too. If you want to hear me rank the best state of Warzone or the entire history of pay to win, pay to lose, or snipers, click on screen right now. Join my Discord if you're feeling crazy, and if you liked, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike, and thank you so much for watching.